coming through all good because I'm still learning the ropes of OBS.
Sure.
Okay, so that's live. All right, seems to be good. So I'll just introduce it, and then we'll just get stuck in, mate.
All right, let's do it.
All right, guys, here we are for episode 145. Today we have on a guy who I've wanted to get on the show for quite some time. CJ Champion, welcome to the High Performance Podcast.
Hey, what's going on? It's really good to be here. I'm excited.
Dude, is your last name really Champion, or is it like Chris John?
it's just my name is Christopher John. CJ Champion is just something I came up with.
Your dunk name, your show name.
Yeah, sure. That came from something in high school, but I wasn't even a dunker at that point. So I thought it was a cool name, so I just went with it, and that stuck.
So you're like me and Angus, 2 first names.
Yeah, actually 3. My middle name is Samuel.
Okay, that's same as me. Angus's middle name's James. My middle name's Charles. So that's
awesome.
I feel like my parents should have switched the last name. But anyway, how did you explain? Can you tell the story how you got the nickname?
Nickname. So I did it myself. Okay, this is a good story, I guess, because it kind of gets into who I was as a high schooler. So I didn't make my basketball team growing up. I was pretty underdeveloped, really skinny. My team was pretty good anyway. So I remember trying out freshman, sophomore, I think junior year as well. But at that point, I kind of like transitioned over wanting to do video editing and stuff because I was a big fan of Hoop Mixtape. So I wanted to film basketball games. So I ended up becoming the videographer for the team. And I actually filmed all their games. And they would end up going to states and winning their state championship. And I would always like post highlights, and that's kind of what I was like known for doing. And just because we won the championship and I was kind of a part of the team as a videographer, they even gave me the championship ring and everything. So that was what I had to my name. And once I made my Instagram, which was after that, I just thought, okay, CJ, and let's just put a champion at the end of it because I felt like a champion, and that was it.
And then you started to get into dunking, and the name just suited.
Yeah. The name stuck. So that's what it was.
And so I guess obviously you weren't good enough to make your high school basketball team. I guess that's like that Michael Jordan effect. Yeah. What got you into dunking? Like, were you good at basketball? You were just at a really competitive school. Were you athletic? Like, take it back.
I wouldn't say I was like that athletic. I wasn't special or gifted in any way at that point. I wouldn't say I was that good at playing basketball either. I mean, even in my rec leagues, I would be more of a bench player. But I had fun doing it. I love that. What got me into dunking was I was always interested in dunking, like from a young age. I think the first thing that I could remember is I was probably in about 3rd or 4th grade. There was a game called NBA Street Ball Volume 2.
Yeah.
And they had dunk packages in the game. You can go back and look at the dunks. So me and my friends would go outside and we'd mimic that. And as I grew up, jumping was always something that was really like exciting for me. So I can remember the first time I touched net, which was 7th grade. Backboard was 9th grade. Rim was 10th to 11th grade. And then my first dunk was when I was 17 at the end of my school year. So I was like always into it. I always watched TFB videos, Hoop Mixtape videos, like religiously. And I always, in the back of my mind, was like, oh man, it would be so cool to be like that one day. So once I got my first dunk, I thought that was like the best thing that I had to my name. That was like the best thing that I've ever done. So I would continue just working on it, but more casually. That's when I started going to the gym as well. It wasn't my primary focus until probably I don't know, until maybe like a few months after I hit my first windmills when I really wanted to get into it. But
fuck, I love how you can casually not really be into it and then hit a windmill. Fuck, I've been at it for a good 18 months now, and I'm like still struggling off the dribble.
Well, I mean, I was into it. I would definitely say I was into it, but it's just I didn't specifically primarily train to jump high until like that point where it was like, okay, you know what? If I can hit a windmill, I could do this.
So there was obviously a level of genetic potential there that was sort of that low-hanging fruit, like to be able to not do much training. Like, were you a fast kid at school? I know track's pretty big at American high schools.
I think because I was underdeveloped, I probably wasn't compared to everyone else. Because I did track in 8th grade, and I remember doing the 100 meter. I'd always go last, and I'd be picked up with the slow kids, and I would be in the middle basically.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wouldn't say at the time no, but maybe it's just because I was a late bloomer, and now, of course now I would consider myself probably somewhat fast
Mm.
if I really trained for it if I wanted to. But yeah, growing up, not so much, not so much.
Yeah, it's interesting sort of what you can tap into with training when you're on the right training program as well, when you have the right motivation and stimulus. What times do you know? Have you, I guess, I know you're training with John as well. You never really run 100. Have you run
I'm
anything longer in terms of like 50 to 100 meters just to see what you can get?
we've never really timed it. I have no idea.
It's something
I
that's
would
got to
like to
happen
know.
at Dunk Camp next year. I'm really trying to get to Dunk Camp next year, and I reckon, excuse me, there's definitely room for 100 there.
Okay, well, yeah, definitely. It's going to be totally different because the altitude there is actually so noticeable than here in Florida. But I would love to, and if you can make it, do everything you can to make it because Dunk Camp is like the most fun you will ever have.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm just about to have a coughing attack. One moment.
You're good.
I have the man flu, everyone, and I apologize for that.
All good, all good.
Yeah, Dunk Camp looked crazy, and it's something, like I said, I definitely want to get to, and I feel like I could have a bit of impact there because I am super competitive, and I definitely wouldn't be the most talented there by a long fucking shot. But I reckon there is room on the last day for a competition, definitely a sprint, maybe without injuring people, like maybe a max power clean. You could almost organize some sort of jump decathlon without, like with taking the jump out of it. Like, of course, you could have a vert test, not as aggressive,
Yeah.
like just a standing jump, maybe a broad, not as aggressive on the joints as like full out jumping. I don't know. What would you like to see? What do you reckon? And by the way, I'd come last in this, everyone listening. I'm not that good.
Well, I mean that's just half of it. The experience is a big part of it being
Mm,
around everybody. But what would I like to see at Dunk Camp? I don't know because I really think Andy hit the pin on
mm.
everything. Now we might have sort of mentioned something about doing 100 or running or sprinting just to see. That would be a fun thing to add. I would specifically start training for that because I would want to beat everybody.
So yeah, that's the thing. It could take away from like the dunk contest because everyone would be like running hundreds and stuff.
That could be true. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I would want to add because Andy was everything was like so perfect in terms of just the facility and all the tools that we had, all the things that we had to recover,
Mm.
and then all the fun things that we did in between. I'm not sure.
I always G John Evans up because I know, and I'm quite like you, pretty close with him. Speak to him most days. I'm like, fuck, I don't know how you and these Ben Patrick, whoever on the show had on the show, and I like him, didn't get into it because Ben can be pretty. I mean, sorry, John can be pretty fiery sometimes, and I really like egging him on.
I don't. He was probably he had his he had a good amount of people that were there in
Mm,
his program. So he was really heavily focused on everybody that was in his program,
mm.
and making sure that we were good just to jump. And on top of that, he was coaching a lot of other people. So he was. I think during dunk camp he was pretty. He felt kind of like busy. I guess
Mm.
so. I don't know. I don't know.
Not enough time for that.
Maybe.
I think it would be cool to have like that sort of debate, like a classic American high school where they go back and forth. Could be quite interesting. Fuck, man, I'm so sorry. I'm really trying to not
You're
stress my vocals.
you're good. You're good.
Can you outline your current training regime? And I guess you're coming into off season now for dunking.
Yeah. So.
Just keep talking while I have this coughing fit.
Sure. Off-season stuff. Yeah. So I finished up the summer, which was a really, really awesome summer. And this off-season, I'm like most excited for because I started training with John in I think around February, and that's when I feel like I really, really got into like what real training is. Because all before that was I was trying to make up my own stuff and do my own thing. Um, right now, since the season's over, I'm at the point where once I'm kind of doing some slow strength things to make sure my knees and everything are prepped and ready for some real heavy training because I haven't gotten fully into that yet, where I'm like squatting as heavy as I can, deadlifting as heavy as I can, or any of that. I haven't done that yet. So my legs have like a lot of potential because I know there's a lot of strength that can be built around them, and Usually when I do that, when I can do that, which I've done it completely differently before. If I do it right this time with John, I feel like my potential right now is crazy. So having this time, not having any events kind of coming up in the near time, not having the pressure to like need have a bunch of contest dunks ready, I feel like a level up is definitely coming very, very, very soon.
Well, I see back when you used to post a lot on YouTube, you're squatting. You said you're still really new when you're in England. You're going to the gym, new to like
I
lunging,
gave,
new to squatting, all that stuff.
yeah,
And now I see how
yeah,
strong like Isaiah's gotten, and he's crazy at the moment. Like he's jumping so high, and I sort of see that's where you're heading to
yeah,
after a good
yeah, yeah.
strength phase. Because for quite a skinny guy, he's super strong. Like he's squatted. I speak in kilos. I'm not too sure the pounds, but 140, 150, which is solid. Because I can't imagine he weighs much over 80 kilos.
No, no, I don't think he does, or at least you're on the money there. Um, yeah, no, he's having the combination of being healthy and then being able to lift explosively and jump explosively while staying healthy. That is a very deadly combo for somebody who is as motivated and driven as he is. It's like crazy. So being able to kind of see that process, and I do work out with him every now and then, and just kind of seeing that. At first, back when I was like injured and I was doing things with him, it was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm here, and then he's just like climbing, climbing. So there was a mental issue with that. But now I've kind of gotten over that, and I fixed my mindset a lot of ways, and like seeing it from back here is just like, wow, this is where I can be, and this is where I'm going to be, and this is really awesome to see him succeed. So he did awesome in where was it? Not Quebec, Montreal.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
was
well, then
great.
killed it. And then who won in? You guys were all in the Ukraine, right? Him, you,
We
Bath.
we went to we went to Latvia, Riga,
Yeah,
Latvia.
that's it. Dude, I'll tell you who
Super,
I'm
super
upset that wasn't there, and I watch his vlogs, even though I don't speak any Russian or Ukrainian. Is that Chronomal guy on Instagram?
Kroha.
Dude, what
I
his
I have
Instagram
yet to meet
cracks.
him.
Yo, dude, I want to meet because have you seen him? He trains in his undies. Like I watched
Yeah,
this, I was
we
like him and this skinny guy down the beach, and he's sort of like, from what I can tell, coaching this skinny kid, and like they're all in their underwear.
yeah. He's different. He's different. I think like mentally he's so out there, but I mean that in a good way. When
Yeah,
I say people are weird, I mean that in the best way possible. He is just like on another frequency, which really really cool. I can't wait to meet him one day. But yeah, the things that he trains in is a bit interesting. We did make comments on that when I was in Berlin with the Dunk Elite crew. We were just scrolling through, and everyone was like, "Oh, look at this! He's doing deadlifts in this tightest." Like, it was weird, but funny. That's who he is, I guess.
Look, I hope he speaks English okay because I'd love to go to dunk camp and then he turns up. It's just like a different mentality over there. Like his form for some things can be very debatable, like especially some deadlifts I've seen him do. But he's like, you can't argue with the results. And then I saw him putting like, I think it was condensed milk on pancakes because I think he's trying to bulk up at the moment. It's just
Interesting.
like it looks like a really
Interesting.
hard place to live. Like the courts are hard, always double
Yeah.
rims.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting around in their undies. He seems pretty intense. Like he'd just turn up to dunk camp and just destroy everyone.
He tried this year, but he's having a lot of visa issues getting
Okay.
getting anybody coming from over there or anywhere, like even in Russia,
Oh
of
mate,
course.
Trump. He hates the Russians.
Yeah, so that's a big issue. But we'll see. I think he's still working on it. He was talking about how much he wanted to be at dunk camp. I'm pretty sure I heard that from somebody. But that would be amazing if we could have him come by. That would be great.
I think John told me, and I'm not too sure if this has happened, that he's actually on the program now as well.
Really? Oh, he's got Kroha on the
I
program.
think so.
On-
I don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure. So
Interesting.
hopefully we start to see some better deadlift form from that bloke.
Yeah.
Well, look, maybe we've been
Yeah.
doing it wrong all along.
Maybe. Well, maybe.
It's fake because he's the
Uh,
guy I've noticed put on quite a bit of weight lately, and I myself have
Yeah.
been trying to put on a bit of weight, and I've noticed obviously my strength's gone up, but I feel like I'm jumping really high at the moment. Have you sort of experimented with that, and can you sort of comment on weight gain and I suppose not strength gains but vert gains?
I have a hard time gaining weight. even while I was in England, I thought I was eating a lot. I mean, not that I was doing really heavy weight training. I thought I was eating a lot at the same time, but I come back home and I'm down to 70 kilos, which is kind of where I stay. For pounds, it's between like 155 to 160. And I've been that way throughout my entire dunking career. I think the most I've ever been was 165. And throughout all of that, my bounce, sure, it kind of goes up and down, but it doesn't correlate. For me, so far, I haven't noticed it correlating. I think, if anything, the highest I've ever been jumping is when I'm at the weight that I am now. But I do have issues. I can't really gain that much weight, and I don't really lose that much weight. So I can't really say. I haven't had too much experience with that.
It'd be interesting to see when you really start hitting the leg weights, like a lot of compound squats, deadlifts, power cleans, all that, if it does go up or if you just sort of stagnate. Because in the end, you do have to eat. Like, I'm a skinny guy myself and fast metabolism, which is great. But you definitely have to force the food in.
Yeah, I'm curious too, because I want to know what happens. I can't wait. I want to know what happens if I start seeing my weight go up. I'm curious. I think I want to kind of let it for, I don't know, until, as long as it feels good. I want to let it happen and then see where that takes me. If I'm jumping really high, then you know what? Great. Let's keep doing that.
Well, that's what I said to John. I was like, as long as I'm pretty vain, so as long as I still have abs and as long as I keep getting stronger and faster, then it's only a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, something I spoke with Isaiah about was Dunk League, and it was really good on YouTube. And he told me it was filmed quite a while ago and only sort of released a couple of months ago. Can you talk us through your experiences, like through the qualifying, dealing with like keeping your knees healthy throughout the competition? Because it was fucking intense.
Yeah. Okay. So, Dunk League was actually first aired on an app called Go90. So this was only like a few months after after we finished filming. And then Go90 completely shut down. That's why they brought it up on YouTube like a year or two later, however long it's been. Okay, Dunk League was that was probably one of the craziest. Is the craziest performance I've ever had. So the beginning, going through the, I guess, qualifying, that wasn't too much of a sweat. I wasn't like stressing it too much. I feel like at the time too, I didn't think much of it. I was like thinking, Dunk League guy, this is kind of interesting. I'm not too like excited to kind of do this. I didn't really think it was going to be anything huge. So I remember going to the qualifying, and it was we were outdoors on like a 10'2" rim. We measured at 10'2". Yeah, it was our episode was a bit kind of and I remember we got rained out and we had to go indoors. I did well though. I did fine. I thought I like, compared to everybody else, I did pretty well. Isaiah, I think he struggled with knee pain during that time as well. But I had, my competition was like Will Bunton, Isaiah, Peter, and Lewis, and I felt really confident in that area. So that went well. That was a breeze. And then months later is when Dunk League actually happened. So I remember Dunk League 2 weeks before Dunk League. I'm jumping my highest at this point ever. I still haven't even gotten back to that area yet. But I'm jumping my highest, and I remember we had a really big session. Andy was here. Andy was down in Florida. We had a big group of people in Florida, and we were having a session, and we hooped after. And I remember I was guarding Isaiah, and I stepped on his foot, and I completely like twisted my ankle. So for 2 weeks, I did absolutely nothing leading up to Dunk League. And I remember flying into Dunk League, and I'm thinking, I haven't jumped yet. I feel like I'm not even going to be, it's going to hurt, and I'm probably just going to have to like quit or something. I thought that's what might happen. So my mindset was just like, well, let's just go 100%, do everything I possibly can, and then see what happens. Turns out first day I do like excellent. And my body feels amazing. So throughout the entire Dunk League, though, that was probably the most work I've ever had to like put into anything ever, in terms of like physical just work, because I think Isaiah mentioned it was a lot of off and on. So let's kind of get into the wall, for example. I think a lot of people know me for doing the wall.
That was fucking crazy. So for anyone listening, there was a brick wall, like literally a brick wall under the hoop or just in front of, and obviously you guys had to jump over it and dunk, and then the wall kept going up as people got eliminated, and you got 3 attempts, right? Or 2?
Something like that. Yeah. I can't remember. I think it might have been 2. And So this wall, right? Obviously, you could see it wasn't. It was really flimsy. If you were to like barely touch it, it would all fall
Yeah,
over.
it was an actual
And
brick.
yeah, no, it was all plastic too as well. So this was probably, I think this was day two or was it day three of filming. So at this point, everyone's pretty tired. Thankfully, I had no knee pain. I don't know what came over me. Throughout the entire contest, my body felt really good, other than just getting sore muscles. My
Mm.
muscles were very, very, very sore. But the wall, this is kind of like showing how we had to do things. So people would go one at a time for the wall. So you'd kind of have to like, who's going, and then you'd start your warm up, maybe two people before you go. And my warm up is I have to always like be really fidgety and do some like really quick movements to break up a sweat, and then I knew I was going to jump my optimal. I was also really scared. I've never jumped over a wall before. I've never done a challenge like this. I knew Guy doing the high bar in he's done the high bar in multiple different contests, and
Mm.
I'm thinking like, okay, he's obviously gonna win. He's 1 foot, I'm 2 foot. 1 footers have the advantage here, so I just thought like,
Just go
whatever,
for it. Yeah.
let's go for it. So I remember talking with Killian, and we went in depth on how I should be doing this, how I should be approaching it. So the first one happens, and everyone's like, don't worry, it's gonna be easy. Of course, it was easy. I went over it, dunked it, got some confidence. I was like, okay, I didn't think I could really do that. Um, and then what happens is you sit there and you wait. You wait for the film crew to get ready again. You wait for everybody else to go. And as people were going, people would knock over the bricks, and it was like a 5 to 10 minute wait to get the bricks back up. So it's like you warm up, and then somebody will knock over the bricks, and then you have to wait again. And then when the next person goes, then you re-warm up again, and then you go. And that would just happen over and over and over again. So by the time the whole wall was completely finished filming, I probably had to re-warm up like 10, 12 times before I had to jump. So I'd break a sweat, jump, and then cool down, wait, and then warm up again, break a sweat, and then maybe have to
Mm.
wait again, and then warm up again, and then jump. So it was a lot of that going on, and that itself was like extremely tiring.
Yeah. See,
Uh,
it's interesting you say that the 1 footers, I think the 1 footers had the benefit in terms of like getting the height, but in terms of kicking their feet up, like you're really good when you dunk, your feet come right up. And I think that was what, in the end, obviously you can jump extremely high, but so could everyone that was on that show. So I think your technique just naturally lended itself to that contest.
Yeah, it really did. You could see somebody like Jordan Kilgannon, the way he was getting over, he wasn't, because I would lean into it, and then my legs would kind of kick up,
Mm.
and I wouldn't jump as high as most of those guys that were doing it, because I was also going off the dribble.
Mm.
Versus Kilgannon doing it off the dribble. He was more upright, and he had to bring his legs up even higher, but he had to actually jump a lot higher to be able to reach over it. So yeah, the technique thing was a really big part of it. So I was able to, I didn't, without really thinking too much about it, I naturally was able to kind of like lean over and make the most of it and get my whole entire body over, which but that worked. It surprised me as well.
Mm. And get the win.
Yeah, well, it was win.
Yeah.
It was a tie.
Yeah,
But
true.
and then we all split the money at the end. I do think we should have kept going, and I definitely think I would have won that
Yeah.
if we kept going, but it was cut once we all missed.
Mm.
So
And what was the highest you jumped? I forget if they said how high the wall was.
I don't know. I actually forgot. I feel like it was around at my neck level, maybe,
It was
or was it lower? I can't remember
It was
now.
high. It sucks. I don't, because I have YouTube Premium and I think it's only on YouTube Premium. But guys, you can try and YouTube at the Dunk League wall contest. It might come up. But if you have YouTube Premium, definitely check out that episode. The whole of Dunk League was filmed very well. I got to take my hat off to whoever curated that. It sounds like it was a bit of a pain in the ass, like waiting for the film crew and, like you just said, having to warm up and certain things like that. But the finished product was very enjoyable.
Yeah, that whole waiting thing, that's just something you got to get used to when, I guess, as a dunker going into events like this, you kind of have to know ahead of time this is how it's going to be. And that was also just one heck of an experience. It was so much fun because I was able to tap into something into my body that I never knew I had. The amount of like focus I would kind of I would turn up some sort of mode, and my adrenaline would like completely take over, because I'm an adrenaline athlete. I do really, really, really well when adrenaline is kicking in, versus like when I am actually training without adrenaline. It's very not much is happening. It's like totally night and day type difference. But it was really cool to be in that zone, and I haven't been able to really tap into that zone before, or after that. I haven't been able to do that again. But that was kind of crazy.
Also, you think in training you really are a guy that needs a lot of adrenaline kick to have a good session and perform, or are you saying just competition?
I in training I do need a good amount of adrenaline, but as I've been training with John more and more, I think as I'm building my capacity, I can have good sessions while feeling very, very normal. I was getting to the point before dunk camp where I was building my sessions because I was coming from an injury before dunk camp, and I was starting to build even when feeling normal because I stopped having caffeine at that point, and I was starting to like climb and climb. So I think now things are kind of starting to switch, and we're gonna see as I'm training right now.
Yeah, it gets a bit better. That's interesting you say that. Like we just had on Kyle Dobbs, who spoke all about like breathing and sort of bringing people back down to earth, and how he sort of goes into a training session real hyped, and he uses a few breathing exercises to sort of bring himself back down to help him focus and perform. And I find even when I was sort of running a bit of amateur track and field just for a bit of fun, I'd get overhyped, and I still don't know if it was good or bad for me. But it's interesting that you obviously think you need a bit of that. But is it something you can maybe work towards and only have that adrenaline hit in contests, then you know you've got that extra gear, or you just sort of seeing whatever happens?
It's always going to happen in a contest. I always will feel adrenaline. To get it kicked in during training, if you ever feel overhyped, for me, I like that. I think it's a good thing. I guess there is a way where you really, for me, I can get overexcited. So I usually do everything I can to stay calm prior to my to whatever my training is until I actually get started on the training. Then that's when I kind of let the energy levels rise, and then I kind of get loose and break free. But usually, in most cases for me, if I do feel overexcited in a training session, then I end up performing a lot better. And I don't really know how I tap into it. There's all sorts of different things that can happen. But training with Isaiah is a good way to to get that going.
He gets you hype. Speaking of contests, we got a question coming through in the chat, and it's: do you think Jay Clark robbed you with his backflip? He did a backflip in a dunk contest.
Is he talking about Dunk League?
I think he might be talking about Dunk League. No reference to a competition, but I think he must be talking about Dunk League.
Well, I can't remember that specific moment, but I remember in Dunk King 2, he what he did was he did I think a windmill in socks off vert.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
that was crazy. That was what kicked me out. Sort of kicked me out. I think I was like, if he would have gotten some lower score, then of course I would have stayed in. But I don't ever feel any kind of negativity toward Jay Clark.
He seems like a nice guy.
He's an awfully nice guy. He's super, super awesome. I mean, we kind of talk every now and then. We have a group chat and everything. But I think I've stayed with him in dunk camp, and we talk a lot. So no, I don't feel any kind of way. It's
resentment,
whatever.
And then we have sorry, go on.
Go ahead. I was just saying, no, I can't complain about somebody doing backflip dunks and then doing a backflip and then going up into vert. That's a very unique type dunk. That's okay if he beats me out with that. But I will have something later for him, I'm sure.
Okay, sweet. Maybe a front flip into a dunk. And then another question we had come through our IG was, can you dunk off vert? Just a standing vert.
You know, that's so funny. That's something I should work. I've never done it on 10 feet before.
Never.
I've never ever done it. I might have
attempted, or
I have, and they don't go well. I'm a very terrible vert jumper. Kind of like Justin Darlington. He would be the same. He's not very good off vert either. I think we do really well we need an approach to be able to jump high. And maybe that's because of me having weak legs, not lifting.
You're going to go crazy, I think, when you get that squat and power clean up.
There's so many different dunks that unlocks when I can do that. Off the dribble becomes a whole different game, and that actually makes a huge difference with spin dunks. I can get into that if anyone wants to. Do you want to talk about spin?
Let's get into it right now for sure. This is what the show's all about. This is what podcasting's about.
Perfect. This is what I've been thinking about for the past 6 months. Spin dunks, right, and off the dribble dunks as well. Take a look at Jay Clark. Take a look at Isaiah. They can spin. They can do spin dunks very well. And what you see when they do spin dunks is when they jump and they get off the ground, they're very straight up and straight down. They don't cover much distance when they do their spins. Chris Staples is he's weird, but me and Chris Staples, for example, when we jump and do spin dunks, we cover a lot of distance, which then our rotation gets a bit slower, and whatever movements we're trying to do also kind of gets altered versus going straight up and down. So to be able to go off the dribble and jump more straight up, straight down will completely unlock like every single kind of spin dunk that I could think of. I'm trying to get more like Isaiah and Jay Clark, and obviously they have pretty high squat numbers, especially for their weight too.
Yeah, I seen Team Builder. His squat numbers are fucking huge. Like that's what makes me think.
See that on Team Builder?
Yeah, it's in. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. It's
That's
actually
so cool.
humiliating because I put my lifts up in. For everyone listening who's on John Evans Team Builder, I put my numbers in kilograms. Okay, so I know it's humiliating. You guys use pounds. Hold on, let me tell you. You go to leaderboard. And then select exercise, and then you go. So we go to barbell. You got your phone there? Yeah, there you go.
do.
Okay, so we got Jonathan Clark 551 back squat, which is like one.
My God.
That's over at 200 kilos. That's a lot. And then
That's
if you
messed up.
scroll right down to the bottom, you'll see me in kilos. No, then you see there's a few in kilos. Fuck, I'm not even up there, dude. There's some good names in this list.
Oh man, I'm at the bottom with 56. I need to update my numbers.
You'll get there, mate. That's interesting though about the spin dunks because John has always said to me, like, I've never tried a spin dunk just because all I want to do is be able to dribble dunk 10 foot. But when I was at the 9/7 hoop the other day with my mates, I threw down a tomahawk and it felt like it was the highest I've ever jumped just from really like throwing my hands up and really using the momentum off the dribble. I posted it on the High Performance Instagram, and I reckon that will be the first dunk on my fingertips that I'll be able to get on 10 foot just because it feels really natural for me. Like the hardest thing for me has been like learning to handle the ball because I can't throw myself a lob. And guys, if you listen to the show regularly, you've heard me say this quite a lot. And I feel with that, it just feels natural. It's the only thing that's ever felt natural. And the spinning thing, because you the same as you, I plant with my left and then my right swings around a bit. And it almost, again, feels a bit natural to spin. But I've never actually let myself go to see what happens.
Yeah, it's totally weird for somebody who's more who needs like an approach to be able to jump high, or who has, I guess, the similar type jump form as I do. That's the case a lot of the times for people who are trying to do spin dunks. It'll look a bit awkward, and they'll have issues, and they'll probably be like sideways in the air as well. I wish Dunk Camp was earlier, and I wish you could come because we could unlock so many things for you. We can get you to work on lob dunks. There's so many different ways you can like practice and actually get used to it.
Year. So I'm getting married in January, and we go straight to Bali for a week, but it's just a small honeymoon. I'm really trying to convince my now fiance, future wife. I'm like, let's just go to Utah. I'm like, it looks great.
It is. Oh, can we talk about Utah? Because
mate,
it's awesome over there.
Yeah,
it's
it
awesome.
looks
First
amazing.
of all, congratulations to you. That's awesome.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. It's quite stressful, but that's okay.
So anyway, I don't know. I really don't know what it's like around you and in your area. But for me, the biggest difference between here in Florida and being in Utah, being in Lehigh, Utah, we're just surrounded by mountains, and we're just kind of like in the middle, and there's so much space, and it makes everything feels very spacious because wherever you are in Lehigh, wherever you are, you could do a full 360 and look around, and you just see everything. Like you could see all the land that's touching from you all the way up to the mountains. Versus when you're here, you can't really see that far in front of you. All you really see is like a little bit of road. Then to your left and right is just trees and buildings. You don't get to like see an entire like open like landscape, I guess. But it's insane. We also got to take a trip up into the mountains. We had like a field trip, and we went up in the mountains. We did some yoga, mental training up in the woods, and that's when they introduced T-Dub. So that was a very special moment.
Yeah, that would be sweet. It looks
Yeah,
nice, and I'm sure it'd be an
it's
easy sell. There's a lot around there. It looks beautiful, but yeah, Sydney's good, and I think basketball's really kicking off here. So my local team, which is an hour south of Sydney, just signed Mello, and then RJ Hampton's over in New Zealand, which is crazy for our local team. And I think it'll kick off like a lot of dunk contests will start. You guys will probably start get brought over here because Brody Stevens is here. I don't think they'll bring everyone out, but surely one of you guys. And then you can come in the studio and knock out an episode because I'm sure it'll be in either
ooh,
Sydney or Melbourne, which is not too far from each other.
man, I would love to come to Australia. That's on my things. That's on the places that I need to go. Definitely, that would be cool. If anything kicks off, if you know of anything and you need some dunkers, you already know who to call.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Got a long list of dunkers. But yeah, it's basketball in Australia the last sort of 18 months has really gone crazy. And you see it like our guys at the World Cup, even though it's like the American third team. We don't have Ben Simmons, but they're doing really well. Like they smoked France last night in the quarterfinals. So it'll be us in America, I think, which is good. If I think we make the finals, get second, that's a good win for Australian basketball.
Yeah, I would say. I haven't even. I don't follow. I haven't been following with the FIBA thing and the USA team. Not so much.
It's interesting. Like it just seems like America don't care because they know it's an easy win, even for like a third string team. Like they had Kemba Walker, Donovan Mitchell. I actually went to dunk at a local court 2 Mondays ago, and they were all there, so I got to meet them all, which was sweet. Yeah, I put up a photo of me and Miles Turner on my IG just by chance, and I was like, my biggest regret, because if someone just throws it up for me, I can dunk it in, and I wish I asked Kemba Walker to just like throw it up for me because I was feeling springy that day, but I was like, oh, just let the boys be. But yeah, it seems like America just aren't like not too phased about the World Cup.
I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody here who's interested in basketball that has ever mentioned anything about the USA basketball things that's happening or the FIBA things that's been happening. Nobody. I haven't even. There's nothing's coming up, and I don't know how they really feel about it. But how I feel about it, I'm thinking about. For some reason, this kind of puts me off. But I'm thinking like right now they are off in doing this is their off season, so I feel like right now is the time. Yeah, of course they want to hone their skills and get ready for the league, but I feel like all this basketball that they are playing right now is can somewhat, I guess, wear them down coming up to the season. So like I'd feel more excited if I knew they're like doing some John Evans training right now, so that they will be super explosive and like peak ready for when the season starts. Because now I'm just like feeling, oh, the season starts. Yeah, I'm sure they're all warmed up and everything, but maybe somebody's gonna not be feeling 110%.
Mate, Boston Celtics must be spewing knowing Kemba Walker's over there just getting beat up, and they paid all that money for him. And then half their team, they had Jason Tatum, Smart, him, and I think that was it. But it's like, fuck, you paid all that money. Let's keep. That's why everyone in Australia's really upset with Ben Simmons for not being part of the team. But when you're on weird. That money, I get why he doesn't want to compete, but at the same time, I'd like to see him play.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody wants to see their favorite players play and all that. But for me, I'd just rather see everybody play when they're 120%.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we got another question in the chat, and this is going to be good for you and bad for me because someone's going to get to compare. It says, "What are both of your guys' max verts?" And I'll make you sound even better. Mine. Look, my running vert, I'd be lying if I'd ever touched anything over 34 inches, if that. And my standing vert best would be like maybe 31. What are yours, CJ?
Your standing vert's actually pretty good. It's probably like a few inches better than mine. I'm not gonna lie.
No way. Well, look, it's interesting because I am a power jumper, and John's always like faster, less ground contact time. That's his main cues for me. But yeah, what are yours? Because your running vert would be fucking crazy.
So my running vert, it's really hard to tell because I've never, I guess, there's two ways that people like to measure. One way is measuring, let's say you were to do a height check, you could measure your head compared to the rim. And another way, obviously, having your arms up and swinging and touching something, that would obviously be a bit lower because your center of gravity is a bit lower when you do that. I've only tested twice, and I don't believe I was jumping my highest when I tested those times, but first dunk camp and second dunk camp, I tested both those times 44 inches for my running vert. Um, if you wanna look at the highest jump I've ever had in my life, I was pretty much spot on with head to the rim on a 10-foot rim. So if you want to say, because I'm being 6 foot on the dot, you could say sure that's 48 inches.
That's
But
crazy.
however you wanna look at it, then.
Yeah, I'd say 40. I believe you're someone that no one can call out. Like for me, they'd be like, "Oh fuck!" If I said 40 inches, they'd be like, "No way, prove it." But for you, it's like just go to your Instagram. Like no one can argue with that. Who, in your opinion, do you believe has the highest vertical jump?
Right now,
Yeah, go right now and then all time.
okay. I'm honestly, I think if Isaiah tested again, I think he could. I
Mm.
think he could really be close to maybe a 50 or a 49. So he would be on par with Kilgannon. I don't know what Kilgannon is doing right now. I don't know if he is healthy because he's very up and down. I
Mm.
know he's doing his best to take care of
Well, he
himself
seems
right
like he's
now.
just been
So
over in Europe having a real good old time.
that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. So I'm hoping he's currently training every other day now. But I think Isaiah would be a pretty good. He's probably up there, I
Mm.
would say, for right now. I can't think of anyone else who might be even close. I would
Yeah,
say.
he's on fire.
Um,
Like that height check you did where his chin was to the ring on the last 3x3. The 3x3 where you guys were together. That was
yeah,
insane.
yeah, it was
Uh,
crazy.
Here we go. The same guy asked, can someone explain how Guy Dupuis has a 60-inch vert? Is that even possible? And I'm going to say he doesn't. Like, CJ, you probably know him, and I don't know. He seems like a bit of a shady character, that bloke, and you don't have to comment on that. So I don't believe that. But that's just me.
um, Guy has given me some really good opportunities.
Mm.
He is a completely, totally different type of guy. He does not have a 60-inch vertical. He just says that he wants to get people to talk about him.
Yeah,
He doesn't he
that's
doesn't
smart.
he doesn't have a 60-inch
Yeah.
vertical. But yeah, me man, I haven't talked to Guy in a while. Yeah, no, he's gotten me some good business, so we're
Hey,
pretty
that's all that
cool.
matters. That's all that matters. All right, let's get into our scripted questions. So I sent out the message, your 5 favorite athletes of all time.
Ooh, okay. All right. I actually had to kind of
Yeah,
write it down.
nice.
I didn't
Respect,
think
respect.
I haven't this is an interesting question. I feel like I'm not like when it becomes to being like a fan of a sports team or a player, I haven't ever been too much of a super fan where I'd really follow somebody and pay attention to a lot of what they were doing. Maybe it's because I have all these other different interests as well. Um, but we could start. We could start with a different
Yeah,
one,
man, I'm
and
ready.
I consider this guy an athlete. We're gonna start with Lewis
Yeah,
Hamilton.
nice. I don't think we've had anyone say him on the show. Actually, I'm sure we have, but not many.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna start with him. I think because I'm totally into motor racing and Formula One. More and more recently, I'm like I love it. I love that kind of stuff. But I think what he's accomplished for him coming, he came into the scene like more than 10 years ago now, and he did come onto a really really good team. But ever since then, he's been consistently competing like really really well, probably winning almost I don't know how many championships, five or
A
six.
lot.
Um, yeah, and for the amount of time that he's been there with all the championships he's been winning, it's that's actually pretty insane. So I'm gonna put him up there just for being that consistent, and I don't know, I kind of like who he is. um, Next one I would say is Tiger Woods because I think of all the athletes out there, he was probably the one I looked up to the most when I was a really young kid.
You're a bit of a
Um,
golfer?
when I was younger, yeah, I liked
Wow.
I did golf a little bit.
Are you
Yeah,
still good or
that
no?
was no, probably not. I haven't picked up a club in a very long time. It's been years. But Tiger Woods, I would watch him a lot as a kid. My family would watch him as well. Um, and I think what's cool is now how he's made that comeback where he recently won the Masters
Mm.
after everything, all the things that he's been through, including injuries, to be able to come back at his age and still compete like he did. I think that's actually quite special. So I'll put him up there.
Nice.
And along with being a bit older and also competing really well, I'm gonna put LeBron James up there because of his durability.
Mm.
Um, I think that like being just watching him play, I always kind of have in the back of my mind he's old,
Mm.
and for him to be able to move like he's moving and do what he's doing, I find that really really really
Yeah,
impressive.
that's very impressive. He's a
Yeah,
freak,
so
and
I
we're
want to.
seeing it more and more. Even with like going back to dunk camp, you see those guys 40 plus there dunking, and they're not
Yeah,
super tall. And
yeah,
then a guy I
yeah.
love is Justin Gatlin, like 37, almost 38, still competing, like running. He ran like 9.8 mid this year, which is like that's insane.
So I heard. How old is he now?
37 or 38.
How's that even? That,
But that's the
let
thing,
me
and
see.
I think maybe it's been possible for a while, but because you're always sort of told, like I think people used to, even going back 10 years ago, get an injury in their late 20s, early 30s, and they're like, oh, they're done. Whereas now it's like you just come back from it, you just keep going. And I think you know your body better in your 30s because you've been living in it for a lot longer, competing, and then you're like, okay, well, I know how to train, I know how much I can push. So yeah, it's interesting.
That's the kind of stuff I love to hear and I love to see because I want to keep dunking once I'm past my 30s. Obviously, there's signs of people doing that if you look at Remix. I think he's like 36 now,
Yeah.
I think. And he jumps stupid high. It doesn't make any sense.
Mm.
But to be able to keep that durability and be able to compete at that level, man, I would love to do that at that age. I mean, LeBron probably also spends millions on himself every year just to keep up with that kind of stuff. But I mean, if I could do that, it would be great too.
Yeah, but
But
it's now we have access to that easy knowledge, whereas even
we
10
do,
years
we do,
ago,
yeah,
it was completely different. And I don't know
yeah.
if it's slowing down, but it's still like we're finding out more and more, like you just get better. And yeah, like you said, going back to you learn your body, you know what works for you, what doesn't. So, mate, I think you'll be dunking into your 40s if the motivation's there.
That would be great. I have John. We have John, so I think we'll probably make it.
Well, mate, I swam quite competitively, so if my knees ever give up, I'm just going to jump back in the pool.
Uh, fair
Rest,
enough. Fair
rest in the
enough.
shoulders for a few years.
Yeah.
All right, and do you have any more?
um, yeah. Next would be Usain Bolt.
Nice.
Definitely. So my mom's side of the family, they're all
Oh,
Jamaicans.
nice.
So we're obviously really proud of that. The his first Olympics winning that 100 meter. That was just a really good moment because I remember we had the entire family together. I don't know if it was a big family reunion that we had, but it was the same time as the Olympics. So we had like a group of, I don't know, maybe it was like 20 or 30 of us watching this race.
Nice.
And once he won, everybody just went ballistic.
It
And
was crazy.
and yeah, that was such a good experience. So from there on, I always looked up to him, and I still do.
Mm.
So Usain Bolt is a big obvious one. And the last one is it's Jordan. It's
Yeah,
Kilgannon,
nice.
definitely. He was a really big push, I guess, for me to just open my mind into this professional dunk world. Kind of like Isaiah's story. He helped me out on Instagram like long ago when I was trying to hit an East Bay dunk,
Mm.
and and I remember at the time, same thing with Isaiah. Like as soon as he like left a comment or as soon as he liked it on my Instagram, I was running around my house like, oh my gosh,
You were
Jordan just
laughing.
like my thing.
Yeah.
I was screaming. I was so excited. But the same thing, and he gave me a whole bunch of tips. And eventually, I would hit the East Bay. He was excited for me,
Mm.
so he followed my journey as well. And he was able to see the amount of fun that we had with our Florida dunk sessions, and he wanted to be a part of it. So I think it was around 2015. I don't remember the month, but me and him, we kind of discussed it, and he was like, "Okay, how about let's keep this a secret,
Mm.
and how about I come over and let's surprise everybody, like just at a random dunk session." And I remember I had to like keep it quiet for like a month or two, and he decided to just fly down. He stayed at my place, and we were getting this big dunk session ready, and I had to tell Steven and Isaiah, I was like, "Oh, we have like some sort of really big people filming. This is going to be for TV or something." I had to come up with some sort of
Yeah.
lie, and we had to once they came in because I had to really convince them to come to this session. They came in, we surprised them with Jordan. Everybody went nuts, and the whole gym was packed. So there was a lot of people that were wanting to come see Jordan dunk.
That's
So that was a
hectic.
lot of fun.
It seems like there's a really
Yeah, and
good
just
culture down there. And are you in Orlando?
yeah, Orlando. Yep,
Yeah.
we're just like 30-40 minutes from Disney.
Yeah, crazy. It seems like that's just a big dunking culture.
Yeah, definitely. We did grow something here. We kind of have dropped off a little bit, but we used to have a lot of people come from all around. Even I remember we even had Brody come down
Mm.
just to come dunk with us with the big group.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of hype around dunking here. And what I like is that Andy was able to take that hype and he brought it over to Utah.
Mm.
But going back to Kilgannon, being staying with him, and just talking to him, being able to like really see like inside of his mind and him kind of getting into my mind and just like pushing my boundaries way out there. That was a really big changing experience, and it really made me open my like think like, okay, this is something I could do. He would just tell me, he's like, yeah, you have it in you. You can literally do anything you want to. So being able to do that, and then of course learning so much technique,
Mm.
just being with him for a few hours is you learn so much. So he was a really big push in getting me to keep moving forward with dunking. And he also actually a big part of it. He kind of opened my eyes to see style inside of dunking because I never really thought anything about like style, the way people's legs kick, how they look in the air. I never really used to look at it and think dunks look cool that way. And I remember he would really compliment me on like, dude, the way you do this in the air when you finish is like unreal. That's something you should really highlight.
Mm.
And I never saw it that way, and I never looked at other people's dunks that way. And then I kind of started to see it, and that kind of helped my dunks as well. When I would see certain things happening with a certain dunk, I would think, okay, cool, let's do this again, but emphasize it, and then keep it going. So that was yeah, he's definitely one of the athletes that are up there.
Mm.
I'm gonna add one more. I'm
Mate,
gonna add
go
one
for
more.
it.
We kind of talked about him, but Isaiah is definitely becoming one of my favorites right now as well. The past few months, because seeing him grow and training with him, and then seeing where he's at right now is actually like mind blowing.
Mm.
So I think him and Jordan Sutherland are the two best in the world right now.
Mm. It's
Uh,
crazy to see, like, he was already like, I consider all you guys elite, but he's like added a noticeable improvement in his vertical. Like, everyone always asks what is the maximum like potential for someone, and I already consider him an elite, and then to add all that is like should be very motivational for everyone. Like, just a few tweaks in his training, starting training with
yeah,
John, being serious, taking things more
yeah,
serious, like, it's insane.
yeah. He's really just made it to another level, as you said, and I'm honestly like, anytime he's ever dunking, anytime I ever see any content from him, I couldn't be more excited to
Mm.
like really quickly go look at it.
Mm.
Uh,
And there's a big
so
following
yeah,
for you guys. I think, like, yeah, that bit of basketball following, bit of track and field following. Like, a lot of coaches we've had on the show and trainers are just like, I think it's an athletic thing. That's why I want to be able to dunk well, because it's an extremely athletic thing to be able to do. So I think it's
yeah,
growing, like, the following. So you guys, that's why I think you got to get back in the YouTube channel. And I told Isaiah, I'm like, never stop that, because there's such a market for it.
yeah. I'll have some videos coming. I'm waiting for some footage to come in, but I'm gonna have like a whole thing done for all the stuff that I did in the summer
Yeah,
with full
nice. Yeah,
commentary
that's
on
sweet.
everything.
That's sweet.
So you're gonna get all the details of how everything went
Yeah,
down.
that's good. That's what I said to Isaiah. He's like, what do you want to see on my YouTube channel? I'm like, vlog style competitions. Even though it's hard and like there's high stress, like if he vlogged K54, that would have been awesome, like behind the
Oh
scenes and
my
stuff.
gosh.
But
Oh
I
my gosh.
understand why he
The
didn't want to focus on that.
Yeah, the stories that I hear from 554 was if there was a camera on him at all
Mm,
times, it would be like a movie.
yeah, it'd be crazy. Well, you met Donovan Mitchell. How was that?
Ooh, ooh. So this is Berlin. This is Shut Up and Play.
Yeah.
This is some sort of 3-on-3 tournament, and okay, so going into it, uh, this is now after dunk camp. I'm starting to feel really good from my injury, and I remember I was starting to try and lift heavy right after dunk camp, and I remember I did something wrong with hip thrusts. I think it might have been that, it might have been something else, but I messed up my back, and I wasn't too sure what was going on. Uh, yeah, I wasn't like too bad at times, and at times it was. So leading up into Berlin, I was kind of stressed because I wasn't sure how my back was going to handle it. And I remember I was able to get a session while I was in England, and it wasn't good. Like, I jumped terribly, but that was all mental. My back was fine. I could jump without back pain. The issue was I can't really like deadlift or do core exercises. Anyway, so leading up to it, there was a lot of mental changes that I had to do, and I had to really like will myself to be like, I'm gonna be fine. This is all good. Let's kill it in Berlin. I did okay. I did okay in Berlin. It was that was actually a lot of fun because I got to meet a lot of the European dunkers like Joel Henry, who was the Royal Guard on Instagram.
He's the English
and
guy.
yeah, he's a super cool personality, kind of similar to Jordan Sutherland. Super cool guy. Um, anyway, so at the event, Donovan Mitchell was there. I remember somewhere in the back, I was trying to get his attention. I was saying hi to him. He didn't really. He might have looked at me or something. But I wanted to do. My main goal for that day was I wanted to somehow talk to him and tell him just talk about dunking. So at one point throughout the competition, I remember because he had a mic and he was talking, and I remember he said something about, "Wow, I can't even do that dunk. I could never do that dunk." And I was able to catch his eye, and I looked at him like,
I'll do it.
"Of course you can." Yeah, no. I was like, "You can absolutely do that dunk." He's like, "No, bro, I can't." So I was able to walk over to him because I wanted him to realize for an athlete like with his potential, literally any dunk is possible. With his vert, he can do literally any dunk. He's able to use his left and his right hand. There's nothing that he can't do.
Yeah, big hands as well.
And it's just literally trying it, and there's levels to trying it, starting out on a low rim and then building your way up, and that changes everything if you ever low rim
Dude,
dunk.
can you imagine the fucking hate he would get if he posted himself practicing dunks on a low rim? Fuck, it would be crazy.
He would never ever.
Nah.
He would never ever. But there is steps you could take to getting dunks down, like Aaron Gordon did in his first dunk contest. He would spend for a month or 2 months prior, he would spend after practice maybe an hour working on dunks. But anyway, I was able to briefly talk to him about dunking. I kind of told him the steps that you could take to do all these dunks, and I told him like, anything that you see that we're doing here is 100% possible. And I was explaining my steps to how I did, because I did the Scorpion, and he was like impressed with that. I was telling him he could do that as well. And we kind of talked about dunking a little bit. And then we had to break off. He's like, okay, cool. Come talk to me after. We need to get into this. This is really exciting.
Yeah. And he follows you on Instagram, I think.
He did. So he was swarmed
awesome.
with people. So I couldn't talk to him after, but like later on, all of a sudden I got the notification when I'm back at the hotel, and I was
That's
like,
awesome.
oh, so I must have got through to him then.
I'll tell you what,
it must have
come through. I'll tell you what would be sweet to see, a dunk contest, you and him versus Isaiah and Blake Griffin, and then like 2-on-2, half court.
That would be crazy. That's some viral material right there.
Yeah, that is viral material for sure. But yeah, that's sweet though. And I got to say, going back to when I saw the US team, they were all a lot, like they were still tall, don't get me wrong, but they weren't as tall as I thought. Like Miles Turner, yeah, Brook Lopez, yeah, but like Kemba Walker, I don't think he's 6 foot.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, because I stood next to him, and I definitely, like, I'm just over 6. I looked eye to eye to him for sure, and like Spider Mitchell, I reckon, might be 6'3". What do you think?
I didn't get to see him stand up. I didn't get to stand up next to him, but I could definitely see how people are saying that they're a lot shorter than they really are.
But bigger though, like they're quite hench.
Oh yeah. Well, they kind of need to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll get into our next scripted question. If you could have a rap artist rap about you, who would it be and what would they say?
I'm not prepared for this. Does it have to be a rapper?
Yes. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. What do you got?
I'm trying to think of a rap. Oh no. Okay, all right. I got something different. I'm not gonna pick a rapper. I'm gonna pick because I was just I listened to this guy to calm down before sessions. I would like to have John Legend sing about something very uplifting.
Okay.
In a way that makes like I'm imagining myself in slow motion doing a really cool stylish dunk, and he's singing about being in the sky, being an eagle or something.
Wow, that's very different. Weird. I like it though.
That's what I'm imagining right now.
He could rap. He could rap for sure.
That would be interesting.
There's this real wave, and Angus and I spoke about it on our monthly wrap up last month. And because I always said I'd have Shia LaBeouf, the actor, rap about me because he can freestyle really well.
Really?
Oh, really well. Look up him on that show. It's the one where they get all rappers on and they freestyle. Like you see everyone on there, some LA-based radio show. And he freestyles on there and it's crazy. But now so where I'm from, Wollongong, there's a part of that which is quite a rough area. It's about an hour south of Sydney, and so we have service stations, petrol stations here in Australia. We call them servos, which is quite a bogan, like hillbilly way to refer to it, but they're called servos. And there's this rapper called Lil Snow, and look this up and let me know what you think. Little Snow and Husky, Huskii, and the song's called Servo. So listen to it at the end and let me know what you think, because I'd be very curious. Like, these guys are really kicking off in the Australian rap scene. Like, because Australian rap, there were guys Bliss and Esso, and I might get a bit of hate from this, but I didn't really like them. It was real bogan rap, whereas these guys had hard drill rap, really good beat, and that's what I've been listening to while I train. So for anyone that listens, needs to get hype, listen to a bit of Husky and Lil Snow, their song Servo. Quite heavy, but they actually reference a few postcodes of where I'm from.
Okay, I wrote it down.
I'll go have a listen to it, and you just message me going, what the fuck? All right, so the next song is, speaking of an artist, the Celine Dion challenge. If I could turn back time, what is one thing you would change?
I think I might have to, because the only thing I could think of is if my knees and my body was healthier, I would be good. So I think going back in time and contacting John earlier.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think
that's a good one.
That would be it, because I knew Isaiah was working with John for a while, and I was really hesitant to jump on that. And I think if I worked with him earlier, I could have gotten myself. There was a lot more events that I probably could have done, because there's a lot of things that I didn't do because I wasn't feeling confident or healthy.
Nice. All part of the learning experience, though.
Yeah.
All right, mate. And then the last question before we let you go, and this has been a great one, exceeded my expectations, and they were high, and that is, do you have a party trick?
Right. I guess I could, maybe I won't reveal how. I wish I could show you, but I could, with one finger, I could break an apple in half.
What? Fuck.
I can't.
Do you don't have an apple? How? What, you just like put it through the top?
It's more of a that's the attention grabber. That's what I say, right? I'm not gonna reveal it. There's a way to do it.
Can you post this on IG? I feel like this would go viral. I've never seen that before.
I think one point in time the Dunk Bros posted it when they were here at one time, and that was fun. I'll do it. If I ever do it, I'll tag you.
Yeah, tag the High Performance Podcast for sure. That's something I need to see and learn as well.
Okay, we'll get into it. I'll probably do it
next time. Hey, maybe when you get to Sydney and you come into studio, I'll have a bag of apples and you can do it live.
We'll do it. We'll do that.
All right, done, mate. All right, guys, there you go. Great episode with CJ. Let them know, everyone know where they can find you on like IG, YouTube, what you got upcoming, anything you want to plug.
Anywhere. You could just type in CJ Champion either on YouTube or Instagram. That's mainly where I'm at, and you can find me there.
Done. There you go, guys. Any last words, mate?
No, this has been an awesome podcast. This is actually my first podcast.
Oh, really?
So I'm really glad it got to be with you.
Oh, man, I'm glad. We love the dunk scene.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day hit that tomahawk on 10 foot and hopefully get to dunk camp next year. But we always get heaps of love.
If you do it at dunk camp, we're all going to go crazy. It's going to be insane.
That'd be hype. And I always talk about it. We got to get Kilgannon on the show. He just does not get back to my texts.
You know what? Then I'll mention.
Yeah, dude.
I'll mention it. I'll message him.
That'd be good. All right, guys. Make sure you check out CJ. Show him some love. Even if you're not a fan of basketball and dunking, you still will be impressed by his posts on IG and everything these guys do. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.